Hello and welcome to another episode of the World Class Real Estate Podcast. My name is Worrall. I'm joined today by Ian Macbeth. How are you, pal?
I'm all good. How you getting on?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Very good. I was just saying off air that we've got quite a busy few weeks coming up personally and a lot of work planning going on. I think it's quite easy to just start relaxing at this time of year, but I'm massively trying to encourage our team not to do that just yet. We've still got a good few selling weeks left of the year, in my opinion. Obviously, we had the interest rate last week as well. I'm hoping that, coupled with a bit of stamp duty pressure, can lead us into busy end to the year. That's certainly my hope. Certainly, what I'm encouraging our team to have that sort of attitude. What about you guys?
Yeah, mixed feelings on the interest rate. I know it's good. It helps, but obviously the banks just put the rates up. So it's like it kind of it's crazy, really, isn't it? Because the last couple of times that happened, it was like the base rate was going up and mortgage rates were still going down. And it was
Mm.
like, okay, well, that's all right. Whereas this time round, it's the other way around on the flip. The base rate's going down and the interest rate's going up. So does it really have any impact on what happens with mortgages
They
anymore?
overshot it, didn't they? They overshot it previously, I think.
Yeah, they were raising them a couple of weeks before. But I did notice that I got a high interest savings account and that's obviously reduced again. So
Of course, it has. Always
yeah,
that way.
yeah, pros and cons. But I guess if people the thing is with the base rate is if people have got big savings accounts somewhere, then they think, right, I'm not making as much money out of my savings. Shall I invest it in property? Should we do a move? That's the good thing for estate agents in the market, isn't it? So
Yeah.
um we'll see how that unfolds. But yeah, same as you, mid-November, we've probably got a month left of solicitors being active, in some sort of
Yeah.
fashion, if we're lucky, for maybe 5 weeks. So it's getting those exchanges done in November is so important.
Yeah.
And yeah, we could have our all-time record month this month. It's teed up for it based on what's already exchanged and due to complete. So that's nice to see. It's always Q4 is the business end, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
We're the
it
same,
could,
actually. We're,
yeah,
we're, we're exactly the same. And, there's a lot of pressure for us to try and hit that with the solicitors and that. But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff lined up that should complete between now and the end of the year. Like you say, it's always worth knowing when your solicitors are going to close down and be ahead of that. If you're not ahead of that already, you need to get ahead of it this week, I would say, because that's really important. I remember seeing emails from solicitors last year. They wouldn't arrange completion after like the 14th of December, and you're thinking, like, that is, that's half a month.
yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to
Uh,
discuss some cool stuff on this episode as well, which we'll get into later. But yeah, just so that people know kind of what we're going to be diving into, we're going to use a particular website to kind of show people exactly what people are searching, how many times people are searching estate agents into Google, and then what phrases they're attaching to it as well. One episode we should probably do conveyancing and see what gets tapped, but that would mainly be estate agents typing that into.
yeah.
Yeah, I would have
Can you
thought.
sue a solicitor for missing completion date?
Well, I've got a friend of mine that's buying at the moment, first time buyer, and I've sort of been helping him. And I left him a voice note after a week after the budget because he's been procrastinating about buying. He's been in rented for probably, I don't know, he's mid 40s, he should have bought ages ago, but he's kind of just a bit
Yeah.
blasé, he doesn't have kids. Anyway, he's got the mortgage in principle ready to go. He's been viewing, and I voice noted him after the budget and said, if you don't strike now, you're going to basically on the price he's looking to buy, you're going to lose about 5 grand in
Yeah.
tax on April the 1st. So get yourself in, get it done. And fair play to him, he's gone and offered on somewhere. But then I asked the avocado group, bearing in mind there's about 40 people in that group, can someone recommend me a good solicitor that I can recommend to a mate of mine? I got one message back. One message.
Wow.
Um, but we're not here to bash solicitors, but
No.
it'd be great if we could see some more quality coming through there as well. There are some really good ones out there, actually. It's just finding the one that you can work with. It's part of that team, isn't it? Building that power team as an
Yeah,
agent.
absolutely. Yeah. We had one recommended really randomly. They did the first case in 3 weeks. I was like, oh, that's 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 a. I hope that's not a one off. So we've recommended some more business for them. We'll see what comes through with that. But I think that's the thing you've got to be on top of at this time of year. But yeah, quite excited to have a look in, and we've had a quick peek at the website, so we know some of the interesting search terms that people are entering for estate agents. But the idea with this, if people don't know, is that people can use this to populate a blog to help the website improve performance. This, if you use this tool, then it will massively help your SEO if you don't know about it already. But it's going to make for some interesting conversations, I think, for some of the questions that are on there. And I think if you are an estate agent, then you might be surprised at the type of things that people will Google about estate agents.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love it. I just think it's a great way. If you're ever lacking inspiration to create a video or content or a blog or whatever, great place to go. If you, like you say, if you want to improve your website quality for 2025, Google takes a solid 12 weeks to start indexing properly. So you want to be jumping on it now so that you're really active in kind of January, February. But yeah, shall I get the site up? Do the screen share for those that are watching the videos, and we'll explain it for the people that are listening, so that they
Yeah,
can
absolutely. Yeah,
take a
definitely
picture.
benefit. That'll benefit anybody watching on YouTube or on any of the reels so that they can see what we are going to be looking at. So, do you want to explain what we can see here, Ian?
Yeah. So the website is called answerthepublic.com. It's a global website. It's huge, massive in the marketing field. I've got it saved on my desktop as just something that you can jump on and use. If you register, you get free searches, free a day, is in the number 3 for free. If you aren't registered, then you can just tap one in a day. Or if you really, really wanted to, you could do a paid version. But to be honest, you don't need a paid version. Anyone that's kind of clever with it can just register,
Yeah.
sign up, create an account, and then effectively just do 3 a day. You might get a bit excited day one, typing everything in, but just have some patience and use it daily, because you're never going to type it. I probably use it 3 or 4 times a month max. So yeah, get the free one in. And as you can see across the top here, for those that are listening, you'll be able to see across the top if you log into it. You've got Google, Bing, YouTube, TikTok, Amazon, and now Instagram as well, which
Interesting.
wasn't there the last time I jumped on. The YouTube one's quite interesting for other things, like first time buyer advice or mortgage advice or how to type sort of stuff.
Yeah.
TikTok's obviously massive now, so that's always interesting as well. But you just can't beat Google. We're not selling e-commerce stuff, so Amazon's not as relevant, but you just can't beat Google. So what we typed in is estate agents as the term. So it's going to basically show us anything that comes up in a search term with estate agents, like can estate agents wear pink hoodies? That type of
No, no, they can't.
Funnily enough, that's not a high volume phrase that's been typed
It's a bit niche.
in. But what we can see is that estate agents in search term, on here, and for those that are listening, has been typed on a monthly basis 110,000 times, in the United Kingdom in English. So that's quite interesting in itself. It means that 6 figures, every month, if you look at that, over 100,000 people are typing something about estate agents. So it's pretty high in terms of search terms, which that probably
Well,
surprised me and you a little bit, actually, doesn't it? Off camera,
well,
didn't it?
again, for those who are listening rather than watching, just sorry, Ian, just scroll back up there. For
Yeah.
what is classed as good is anything over 3,600. So that shows that the search volume for how people normally use this website is really at the top end of that. So it just shows how important how important estate agents are, for want of a better term, but how much people are interested in finding out more about estate agents and the house buying and selling process. Moving
Yeah.
house is a big deal for people,
And
so
and if you
it's
were
really
doing paid,
worthwhile.
if you were doing paid stuff as well, it gives you a rough idea of how expensive that would look. So if you're the one man band in your town, then typically speaking, it's quite an expensive search term. So you're probably not going to put estate agent or
Yeah,
estate agents as a search term, because it's going to cost you the best part of £4.50 a click, which you don't really need to spend £4.50 for a click to website traffic. So you want to be a bit more creative around it and use a program like Answer the Public to try and get the organic stuff. We've obviously done previous podcasts with Simon. We've done stuff with Chris Kiriakou. We've had conversations with me and you about digital marketing, different ways to kind of
Yeah.
improve that. My meta ad traffic in the setup that I use is 2p a click. So you just don't need to do that in terms
No.
of Google. But if we scroll down, this is where the fun starts. So there's key indicators on it. So when you get into it, it's like a wheel. And within that wheel, you'll be able to see that the really dark orange is highly searched and the sort of lighter stuff is lower searched. And then it gives you the kind of like are, can, will, who as the phrase is being typed. And here's the search term, as we can see, 110,000 clicks last month on this basis. So let's just pick a few random ones out. The first one I'll go to here is on the will wheel. Will estate agents lie about offers?
Look, that is the most searched
Yeah,
under will. That is crazy. Will estate agents lie about offers? Well,
yeah.
that shows you how much trust there is with our industry, eh?
Yeah, and I would imagine there's a way if you have the account of probably finding out exactly how many times that's been
Yeah.
searched, but that's a lot, you know. So for people that are listening or watching, that's being typed into Google a lot, and there's a reason why. It's obviously like you said, the trust, but it's also people are trying to find out, you know, if people are in the process of making an offer or getting close to making an offer and the negotiating style that you've brought in feels untrustworthy or feels too salesy, then a client is picking up on that distrust or that oversell or
Yeah.
the manipulation of maybe the situation. And I think that for us, you know, paints a really interesting picture for training and for how we talk to clients. Because if you're on the phone and you're kind of saying, no, there is actually a higher offer, and there legitimately is, how we put that across has to sort of come across authentic because
Yes.
there's a breakdown there in how people feel we're communicating. I think that sort of shows to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's buyers that are searching that rather than sellers really, but you're absolutely right that it shows a bit of a lack of trust. But also I think if you know that, you know, we talked about this as an SEO type exercise. Again, you can put that in there and talk about how your business deals with the offer process. But I think you're right, it's well worth knowing that it's the type of thing that buyers will be questioning when they're going through that process, because it's really easy to forget we do this every single day. It's our bread and butter. Buyers do this once every 7, 10 years.
Yeah.
So they are a bit nervous about the process, a bit uncertain. So if you are not being clear, concise, and authentic, then these are the things that people will be then getting the smartphone out and Googling.
Yeah. And you can see it in other areas as well. On the R wheel, are estate agents allowed to lie? Are estate agents allowed to lie about offers? Then on the can estate agents lie about offers? Can estate agents lie? Can estate agents lie about offers UK? There's
It's a
probably some
real
more
theme, isn't
in
it, that
there.
runs through it?
Yeah, yeah, it's a real theme. You know, it seems to be one of the highest search terms. So this is where I feel we have a duty as modern forward thinking estate agents to not hide behind this
Mm.
and go out. I mean, I'm looking at this now thinking I absolutely must make a video for YouTube and for our socials on this because people want to know the answer to that. And you know, what are the regulations around offers? Let's bring some value to the market rather than sort of shying away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, when you make an offer, you must receive something in writing within 24 hours. You must receive something verbally within 48 hours. Let's go out there and educate the public and be that agent that's standing up and letting them know that, yeah, no, you can't lie about offers.
Yeah.
What happens, letting people know that if they offer under asking price and there's negotiating going on under asking price, we will not let people know what someone else has offered. But if someone else has offered asking price, then we can say to them, someone else has offered the asking price, you know. So it's letting the public know what we know
Mm.
is quite valuable. So yeah, that's one that sticks out as a big kind of talking point. I quite like this one as well because again, you know, we're great on this podcast of talking about the things that people don't talk about, but how can estate agents make money? And
Mm.
I think I saw that somewhere else as well around
Yeah,
sort of
there was there
money
was there
or
was a couple of things on that. That's a funny one for me because, but mind you, maybe I would say that's fairly obvious, right? Or is that because again, does that come back to the lack of trust? Are they thinking that we make money with commission on deals? Because I suppose in other countries, estate agents will just stick 10 grand on the price and that's their commission sort of thing or even more. But
Yeah.
the how one is it's there at the bottom as well, how real estate agents are paid. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's quite, I was really surprised at that, probably more surprised than the line about offers actually,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
How do estate agents charge? I think it's probably something that, again, maybe we talk about a little bit. And I actually think by talking about it, it benefits us because I'd say 90% of estate agents don't charge anything up front.
Yeah.
So to actually go out to the public and say, I know we've got a certain reputation, but let me just be clear on how we earn money. And typically speaking, one in two properties that come to the market will get paid on, which means 50% of what we do all the work for nothing. So we are very much a results driven business. And it's not a result that we can achieve within a couple of days of
Yeah.
working on it. It's a result that takes months. And 50% of those results on average we don't get paid on. So that's how committed we are as an industry to try and make sure that we can help you get to your goal of finding a new property and selling your home, and we do half of it for free. So yes, it's a difficult industry to work in, but please appreciate that we're not just trying to, take people to the cleaners on what we're
Yeah.
charging here. We are the cheapest, on the planet when it comes to selling real estate across the globe. So, I think you're not going to get any violin strings playing at that time, but I think it's not a bad thing to let the public know we're actually a bit hard done by
Yeah.
when you
And
actually
I
think about
think
it.
you're also approaching it. We talked about it. I think it might have been last week or maybe the week before about the importance of profit. Profit is not a dirty word, and I think most people would recognise that. Certainly, if you're in the mid to upper end of the market, most business people will accept that you have to earn money, you have to earn profit to make a business a success. So actually going out and being, really open about that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it could come through as some value. And as you said, the nature of the business means that we are often working on a chance or, even working for free for people. We've certainly found that, the public don't necessarily think of it like that, but
Yeah.
it's a real thing. I wanted to talk about the what a little bit actually, and if you just scroll down. So the what, the first one, interestingly enough, is what estate agents are not on Rightmove and what estate agents are on Rightmove. Um, that is, a very small part of what I would think people would be looking at, because I would think that you can see that other ways than Google, but it just goes to show how powerful Google is. But the middle one is the one that I want to talk about. What estate agents do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you talked there, the video about making money, but one of the big things we find this when we have new starters that enter the business, they have no idea what an estate agent actually does. And we once went through quite a powerful exercise of listing everything that we did for clients out, and we were presenting it to clients at one point to to say these are all of the 45 things I think it was that we do for you throughout the process. But actually, there is definitely some value in producing some content around that term, because not only will it help you justify your fees, but it will also, improve your performance on Google, because people are searching for that as the sort of mid range on any what about estate agents.
It's just a great topic to kind of cover. I think again, if you had some sort of automation on booking evaluation and then you were to send a follow-up email, on what we do at Moving Works, at Avocado, at wherever you are, these are the top 5 things that we focus on. And what are those legitimate, unique selling points that you have as a business, or what are your values? It doesn't have to be totally unique to the industry, but I think sometimes if we sell, or we really, really highlight the 3 things that we really care about as an individual business, and we let people know this is what we do, this is what we care about. I
Yeah.
don't think it's a bad thing for the industry, for the public, for the potential client and future client to see what we really, really care about. And like you say, on that search term, what do we do? Everyone, everyone thinks they know what estate agents do.
Yeah.
Whenever you see someone new join the industry and you start training them, their mind is blown. They're like,
Yes.
"Whoa!" One of the first things they say, "I didn't know estate agents had to do all of this stuff."
Yeah.
It's like people don't get it.
The perception, the
Yeah,
perception from the public of what our industry does at a level is very different to what actually goes on, I think, and that's probably one of the challenges that we have in regards to fees in this country. Comes back to the trust, I think, element of it, but absolutely, and that is a really easy blog to write or video to make, or probably even more so, a series of videos on something like that, because that's just, that's why the day in the life of videos or behind the scenes, those videos are always very effective because it can be very personable, but also obviously quite educational.
yeah, yeah. I totally agree. No, it's great for that sort of stuff. There's a couple here as well that are around when our estate agents open
Yeah.
is one there. Some stuff on Rightmove that we spoke about too. I
Yeah.
think I saw some one on Sundays somewhere as well.
Yeah. There was
To do
one,
with
our
oh
estate
yeah,
agent
okay.
open on Sunday.
Which our estate agents open Sundays, our estate agents open Saturdays.
Yeah.
I think there was something else around that. This was quite an interesting. Can estate agents blacklist you? Yes, we can. It's the answer to that. Yeah.
Yeah. This is my business. I don't have to answer the phone to you if I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, I see it all the time in our WhatsApp group. If a client turn wants to go on a viewing and it's the second time that they've no showed,
Yeah.
that in especially as a self-employed agent, you're never getting showed a house again. Let me be honest, you're just not. It's not going to happen because you can't waste people's time after you've had a second chance and expect
Yeah.
to get rewarded.
That's
But
funny, isn't it? That's just that is so selfish on people's behalf now because there's so much automation reminders that people get through the system. They can't claim that they didn't know about it, or they can't pick the phone up if they're running late. They can't pick the phone up and give you a warning or say, "Look, I've been stuck at work" or something like that. That is just that's a no show. And from a buyer, or if you go into a valuation from a seller point of view, you're never going to work with that estate agent, are you?
yeah, absolutely. And we may not discuss this in too much detail, but these were quite interesting ones that are just starting to creep in.
Yeah.
Will estate agents become obsolete? Will real estate agents be replaced by AI? And what's interesting is that the search term is real estate agents, which makes me think that it's potentially not British people in England typing
Yeah.
this. It's still
Yeah.
people in England, but the fact that they put real estate
Yeah.
agent rather than a estate agent makes me think it's more outside of the British sort of heritage that's typing it. But that doesn't mean it won't catch on. So, that's a really good blog, talking about something like that. Can real estate agents, can estate agents be replaced by AI?
Yeah.
Is a really good debate. You see it on Google, don't you? Positive versus negative, or winners versus losers. Estate agents versus AI. You could do a whole kind of 5-point subject on that.
In a real roundabout way to make it really effective, you could get AI to write your blog for you as well. So you're almost half replacing yourself by AI when you're asking the question about being replaced by AI. I think that would be an interesting thing to stick into chat and find out what it spat out for you.
Yeah, I'm quite enjoying having chat and Gemini open at the same time. So chat's obviously the one that everyone's aware of. Gemini is like Google's equivalent, and I quite like having them debate each other's content or questions. So
Yeah.
that's something that you could have a real kind of good three-way conversation about. But
Yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, I think we wanted to kind of share those subjects for people because this is legitimately what the public are typing into Google. It's not just some random Facebook group where someone's saying something controversial for attention. This is actually what people are typing in,
Yeah.
and as estate agents, we peacock a lot, don't we? There's a lot of clickbait put out on LinkedIn, in Facebook groups. People are fighting for internal attention, but this is the real gold that people are actually typing into Google. And I think it's a great lesson. It's a great education. Me and you are probably going to jump off this. I've got notes and we're going to start doing something. So I'm hoping that people will do the same, really.
Yeah, and it's a really, I probably didn't expect those answers. We've used Answer the Public in the past within the business, but I didn't expect some of those answers. Like you said, really interesting. The AI side of things is starting to come in, and a great opportunity to do a blog, whether it's tongue in cheek or not. But great ways for people to build authority within their local area. And if you are doing videos on it, then I recommend that you go back and listen to the episode that we did about stats. Because you talked about how you can make your videos on stats very hyper local and what have you. And it's the same thing here. It's great, it's fantastic being referenced in Google nationally, but most estate agents will want that in their local area. So, because this is just a national thing, will estate agents lie about offers? It might be that somebody is entering, will estate agents in Preston lie about offers? For example. So you need to make it hyper local to make sure that you're calling out your ideal client as well, which is something that you talked about in depth in that stats episode.
Yeah, you spin it locally. And one of the things was open on Sunday. And obviously, being self-employed agents ourselves, and that's a rising sort of field. But you could look at the estate agents in your town or village, and let's say you've got 10 agents in your town. And these days, most of those traditional agents are closed on a Sunday. Yeah. So you could say, right, 8 out of 10, including yourself, are closed, which means if you lived I'm in Crowthorne Village. So, in Crowthorne Village, only 20% of estate agents can do viewings on a Sunday, and I am one of them. So, yeah. You could do something that really kind of sets it up. Now, if you're a traditional and you're closed on Sunday, you're not going to write that blog, but you have to write what's the equivalent. What's the counteract to that? We've got 6 people in our office available to do viewings throughout the week, which is the biggest estate agency team in the town.
Yeah.
And you're indirectly competing against the self-employed, the online, and the smaller agents. So you use whatever is to your advantage. Yes. And it goes back to what estate agents do and what are your kind of legitimate USPs. You have to learn how to sort of make yourself have a statement of intent of who your identity is. Otherwise, it's just noise. No one hears it. Yeah, we're on Rightmove. Yeah, we do this. No one really cares. It's like the same. We do professional photos and floor plans. It's 2024. Like, get a grip.
Is that not a USP?
Unfortunately not, no. Although, why is it actually, I mean, we're off tangent, but why is it that the big boys sometimes are so arrogant that they don't do floor plans? Have you ever noticed that? Like round here, someone's selling a £9 million house round here. They just sometimes don't bother with the floor plan. Blows my mind.
We've got one agent who does all right, quite old fashioned in many ways, never does a floor plan. And I just can't understand why anybody would use an agent that doesn't use a floor plan. To me, it's such an integral part of the marketing. And and that's not just me, my opinion, my experience. I've spoken to buyers who have said, if I go on a listing and there is no floor plan, I don't even look at the photos.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that to me is like, I think there's certain things in life you have a baseline and then you work up from your baseline. Things like answering the phone and bringing people back when you say you will. A floor plan goes sort of hand in hand with that baseline, in my opinion.
I get frustrated if there's not a floor plan on Airbnb. I want to see the layout. I need to see it. Talking of floor plans, and you mentioned about buyers typing in about the lying, but obviously buyers are sellers. And you're selling at the moment. So how is that process going as a buyer, as a seller, as an estate agent, as an owner? You are a different type of 4D client. So yeah, how's that going?
So that is probably a full podcast episode in itself, I would think. I've started writing down my feelings in my notes with the intention of doing an extensive blog and potentially video series on it, but probably more of a blog in that sort of format, because I think it's really interesting when you're on the other side. I've sold a house before. I'm quite experienced in this role, but my emotions are still like all over the show. with it. So I think it is very useful to go through the process. We've been in our current house 8 years, and it is now on the market. We didn't get interest straight away, and I was starting to feel the pressure because I marketed the hell out of the property. It was shared by all my friends on social media, etc., etc. To the extent where my mum, who works in the business, was like, "Do you think you might have gone a bit over the top here, Mark?" I was like, "Well, we'll see." Everyone knows about it at least, but then when everyone knows about it, and you've got no viewings. It's sort of it puts a bit of pressure on. So feeling the pressure, my wife said to me, I feel so exposed, was what her first feelings on it. So we've been through a lot of the emotions, and I am trying to underplay the emotion card with the kids, particularly. I think this move feels different for me because the kids are walking, talking human beings with feelings,
It's
and
their home, isn't it?
yeah, I don't want them to be upset if it doesn't work out. And they were saying last night, oh, because we had a viewing yesterday, oh, if they buy this house, then we can buy this house, and they can buy this house, and because I started, I'm like, right, I'm not going to tell him anything. Then we didn't put the board up straight away, and he was like asking when the board's going up, like every single night. My 10-year-old was asking, "Is the board going up? When's the board going up?" I'm like, "I don't know. Where's the board guy? Can you put a board up? Like, hurry this along." And we didn't go into this. We weren't planning to go on the market at the moment. We were planning on going on a market in the spring, and then we've seen something that we quite like the look of. I've basically broken all the rules that I tell my clients that they shouldn't break about estate agency. In like, you should deal with it, sell your house, and then buy a house. That wasn't really what we've done. Not that we've
Well,
bought a house; we've just seen a house. But when you get the emotions involved, it's really hard to separate.
I've got a guest that we can get on who's just completed. Um, and I think there's a whole episode here that people will be finding really interesting, because estate agents have moved, but it takes it in a different perspective through the eyes of someone else. So I've got a guest that I can get on next week or the following week, and you can have your conversation about your experience. They've actually just got it through, got the completion done. They're doing the works at the moment. And an eye-opening set of information that would be shared as well about everything. And I
Yeah,
think this is going to make a really, really good podcast that hopefully in that period of time since we record that you've got a buyer and we can talk about that. Or if the case is not, then it's just going to be a great episode for
What
people.
did what did I say about pressure? There you go. So
Yeah, yeah. I'll be. If you're not sold by then, I promise you, I'll be hitting you for a price reduction live on this podcast. But I think it'll make a really good episode, and hopefully this episode from this week, people use that answer the public, save it on your reading plane if you've got a Mac, or if not, save it as one of your bookmarks on your HP or whatever, and use it because it does change. That AI one, is a new one that's in there.
yeah,
The lying about offers, it's there every time I search it. So if you're going to do any piece of content or any blog, write about that. Write about that because people want the answer. So give them the answer in your local town because it will make a huge difference. And if there's one thing you take away from this episode, be it that, because people aren't talking about it and they want the answer. So be the one who
yeah.
gives it to them, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great time of year to be looking at and doing this type of thing. We've talked a little bit about forward planning for next year, but actually, when maybe activity isn't as busy, if maybe that stamp duty rush doesn't happen, I hope it does, as I mentioned at the start. But if it doesn't, then you're sat in the office. These are great, jobs that you can be doing when you have got a little bit more free time, a little bit more headspace to get the planning doing. So yeah, get it searched, write your plan and get the blog or the video, or ideally both, recorded, scheduled, and done. Get it out. It will pay dividends next year, and it will help. I think the thing for me, when you look at that, it'll help build your authority within
Yeah.
your local market, and that's all what we want, isn't it? To build that know, like, trust.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I'm looking forward to doing an episode at the end of the month to find out how you got on with your November 10K runs as well. So we've got lots to cover coming soon.
Yeah,
Coming soon.
absolutely. As you know, we do this because we love our industry. We want to see it improve and get better. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please share it out on social media. Reach out to myself or Ian. I'm Mark Worrall. He's Ian Macbeth. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again next week.